Hey there, good morning guys. So we're going to be looking at today a large language model runner that is called Ollama. This is an interesting twist on llama.cpp. If you remember, llama.cpp is our command line operator. I'm looking for an image here that allows us to interact with our chat bots through the command line. You know, a lot of fun stuff there. I was actually looking for an image here of the terminal, but everything done through the terminal. Okay, one of the great things about it is so fast. It kind of itches or scratches that itch to really play around with code and that kind of stuff. But one of the downsides of it is it can be real finicky. There's about 1 million parameters that you have to set, and it should run blazing fast. It doesn't always run blazing fast. So, at any rate, they've come out with some time ago. This is not a new thing, but it's called Ollama, and Ollama is basically a spin-off of that, where you're using a command line to interact with your chat bots, but it seems to run a little smoother, a little easier. You know, there's some funny stuff. You're going to have to set up, instead of typing your parameters directly into your command line, you create what's called a model file, and then you actually generating loadable models from the stuff that you got, and then it keeps it in memory, and you're able to access it fairly quickly. So it's kind of interesting. I'm gonna be honest. First time I was using Ollama, I was not impressed, because at the time you could only use a certain number of actual models that they had, but they've actually expanded it to be able to use more. So at the beginning it was like, you know, you just had a list of ones. I was like, well, why would I want to stick to a certain one when I can be downloaded 1 million? But they've actually added the access now, that through a small process you can pretty much use any GGUF model. So we're going to go through getting this installed on your system. It's actually incredibly easy install. It's pretty much just a Windows install, and but then I'm going to walk you through how to use it on the command line. So we're going to jump right into that, but first, please go ahead and like the channel. We really need to get this out there, get the numbers up. I really appreciate it. I have a lot of feedback from you guys about what great, you know, a lot of it's like, hey, it's really helpful, and this is really, you know, a diamond in the rough kind of thing. Well, let's get it out there so that more people can get these numbers pumped up. So go ahead and like the video, share the channel, and I'd certainly appreciate that. So in the meantime, let's get back to okay, so first thing we're going to be doing here is we're going to be looking up Ollama online. So let's go to our internet, type Ollama GitHub. Okay, it's going to bring up this one here, and we're just going to grab this Ollama, get up and running with Llama 3.1 Mistral GitHub. So let's click that. Now that's going to bring us on over to here, and let's just scroll down. We're not going to end up downloading this repository. We're just going to go straight to the Windows preview here where it says download. I'm just going to click that. What you're going to see is it's going to pop up a window that asks you where you want to download. So just download it to your downloads folder. It's called Ollama Setup, and then click Save. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and click that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop on over to our Explorer over here, our Windows Explorer, and then we're going to go over to our downloads. Okay, let's click on our Ollama setup.exe, and we're going to click Open. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put this over to display so that we can see everything. Okay, and what we're going to do is just follow this through just like any install. Let's get you up and running through a language model. Click Install. Okay, look at it. So it's not even really going to ask us where we're going, because it's actually going to install it as a back end. So this is going to end up being something that on the command line we can just type the word in, and it will work. So, all right. So if you see over here now, it says Ollama is running. Okay. So if we click on our taskbar, whoops, we're going to see it over here, this little llama fella there. Now, this actually doesn't do anything for us other than to be able to quit it. So essentially what's happening is that we've just now installed this, like I said, as a backend. Let's pop over to our terminal window here. And let me see here. Let's get us over to here. And now you'll notice if I type Ollama, actually I need to close this out and then open it again. Whenever you install something new, you have to close out your browser or your terminal window, reopen a new one. So, okay, now if I type Ollama, you're going to notice it brings up a bunch of stuff that we can do. Okay, so these are going to be your main things that you can use. So if we're going to be able to type Ollama serve, or we'll actually watch this. If I type Ollama serve, everything is going to start with Ollama. Okay, so that's how it knows. That's the application it's calling. If we type Ollama serve, see now it's going to actually create a server that we can actually access. So watch, if I copy that and then we go over to our browser over here, and let's just paste that in there. You're going to see it says Ollama is running. So this is going to be our API. If you're wanting to use Ollama through your Python code, you're able to do that. If you're going to be, I'm going to show you in some later videos how to connect Ollama to some different graphical user interfaces. Same thing. So that server, their number that's essentially what's called an API. So in other words, we're able to, it's an access point. So if we're somewhere else, we say, hey, we want to send something to Ollama, we send it to this address. Okay, it's like a postal address. Like if you want to get mail to me, you send it to my home address. Okay, and then you can only do that if you have my correct address. Otherwise, it's going to go anywhere, right? So I get it, then I'm able to respond, and then okay, and then I can send it back to you. So that's what that is doing for us. Okay, this is going to be important. This create command here. Well, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to be able to download models. We're going to have two ways of actually accessing stuff through this pool. We're going to be able to pull stuff down. So without having to go to a website and actually download something, we're going to be able to just pull automated ones. If you remember, I showed you over here in the browser. These, we'll be able to pull any of these without actually having to go download them. But the other one here is this create. So we're going to be able to download our own models that we want to use and then get them ready for using them. Now show, we'll get into later, because now this, one of the confusing things about this isn't exactly the simplest way to interact with LLMs. I still think that Cobalt CPP is the absolute easiest. But this isn't that bad. Now what show is going to do is, because we have to create what's going to be called a model file. That's going to tell us how to create the model that Ollama is going to interact with. It's also going to set the parameters of you know, whatever you want your chatbot to be, like, you know, you're a pirate, or, you know, you're a valley girl, or whatever. And that's going to be in our model file. When we type show, when we type something like Ollama show and then the model name, it's going to tell us what those parameters are. Run is going to be our main one, so we're going to go like Ollama run whatever it is. Okay, and now watch, so I'm going to type Ollama list, and you can see there's none there. So what you're literally doing is we're creating models and we're putting them into memory. Okay, and it's actually really kind of cool, because later on, again, like I said, we're going to use some other browsers, graphical user interfaces that connect to this, and so all of the models that we prepare will then be accessible under the list. So really what this is it's like grabbing models and saying, I'm going to preset them up. Okay, so like with Cobalt CPP, we can just load up a model and then we can go in there and change the context on the fly and do stuff. This is really like what we're going to do is we're going to set it up. We're going to say this is exactly how I want it to be. We're going to set the parameters. We're going to create the instance of it, and then we can pop back and forth. So it's not going to be quite as changeable. It's not as malleable as some of the other stuff. But it's kind of cool, because again, if you really want to get your ducks in a row, You know, so I want to set this up and this up and this up and this up. Ollama is very cool for this, and like I said, I've been very surprised. I wasn't really that excited about this before, but it's pretty cool. Okay, and then all these other ones, of course, list your running models, copy a model. So if you want to make one and then modify it, and then your RM. So everything on the command line. You'll notice there's only, what is this, 3, 6. There's only like 12 commands here, whereas with llama.cpp, you obviously had like 100 that you needed to go with. If you ever need to get back to this list, you can type Ollama-H. Easy. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and load our first model. So what we're going to do is let's pop over to our browser and let's see what we've got available. We've got Llama 3.1, Neural Chat. Let's just grab Llama 3.1. Okay, and we're going to need the 8 billion parameters. So let's see what it says here. So this one says Ollama run, so we don't even have to pull. Let's just go ahead and copy that. Go back to our command line, and let's paste that in there. Okay, and let's see what happens. Now, you see it says it's pulling the manifest. Okay, so it's going to download it. I'm going to hit pause here for just a second, and we'll be back, and it will be done loading, and we'll move on. Okay, you're going to see that it loaded up, and then it immediately went into send a message. So we can say, hi there. Hi, how's your day going so far? It's going great. Tell me about yourself. As for me, I'm an artificial intelligence model design. I'm a chatbot. Okay, let's see. I want you to pretend that you are a frog. Ribbit, hi there, my friends. Hop around. Now, there's something interesting about Ollama here. Is a lot of times with these, especially the base stuff, these llamas and stuff, they won't do certain stuff. They'll be like, well, I'm only a chatbot, and I need to make sure that you understand that that I am only a chatbot, and it does all this stupid stuff. You're like, just act like a damn frog, okay? Ollama seems to be set up where it's pretty easy to context this stuff. It doesn't make it that difficult. Hold on, someone's here. Let me pause this for a minute. Okay, so we played around with that. Now let's go ahead and see what we can do to tweak on this model. So I went ahead and pressed Control D to exit out of that, and then I press CLS to clear it. So let's go ahead and we want to give this a custom prompt. This is where this gets a little bit more confusing, but it's fine. Again, in Cobalt CPP, you would just literally click a button and we just type it in, but we're going to set this up. This is more of a getting your ducks in a row model. So let's go back to our GitHub repository, and we're going to scroll down here. We're going to come back to here later, this importing from a GGUF model, but let's go down here to customizing a prompt, okay? So now we've already pulled, this is how we could like pull Llama 3.1. We've already pulled it, I believe. So let's actually go back and do a check here to see what things we got. Remember, we have our list command. Let's type Ollama list. Okay, and look at that. And we have actually pulled Llama 3.1. So we should be fine there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to create, let's follow the directions here. We're going to go ahead and create a model file. So it's literally just a model, a file called model file. There is no extension. So what we're going to do is type notepad model file. Okay, and that's going to open up a screen that says you want to create a new file. We're going to put yes. So let me go ahead and get that up for you real quick. Okay, so we have a notepad up here. So let's go back over to our browser and see what it wants us to do. So it wants us to, let's just copy this all in here. Okay, and what we're going to do is highlight it, press Control C. Let's go back to our notepad, find it here, and press Control V. So we're just going to paste that in there. All right. Now let's go ahead and change it. Let's see. You're Mario from Super Mario. Let's just say you are a pirate valley girl. And you always talk with a lisp. Okay, and then let's just go ahead and press Control S to save that. Now, what we need to do is we need to see what the next commands are. So we're going back to our browser. So we've gone ahead and saved it. It's going to tell us to create. Now this is where our create command comes in. So now we're actually going to create a model. You see how up here where it says Ollama 3.1 latest? What we're going to end up doing is creating one, and in the thing it says Mario, we'll call it Valley or whatever. It's going to actually say Valley there. So you're going to see you can have multiple Ollama 3.1s, and they're going to have different names. But I'll show you what we mean here. So going back to our browser, let's go ahead. We're going to copy this command here. Go back to our command line, paste that in there. Okay, so essentially what we're doing is we're typing in Ollama, saying we're going to use the application. We're using the parameter or the action to create. What are we going to create? It wants to create Mario. We're going to call it Valley. Okay, and then we're going to give it that F command, which means that we want to use a model file. But now what it's done here is it's used this dot and a period, which is actually Linux, to mean current folder. In Windows, we're just going to erase that. Okay, now this is going to work because we have the model file in the same folder that we're in. Remember, we were in the D drive here. We created this model file. I should have probably put this in a subdirectory, but it's fine. We're going to watch. We're going to hit enter. Okay, and it can't find the file, so let me fix that. And you're going to see here by typing dir, the issue was it didn't create it the way we wanted it. It created it as modelfile.txt. So we're going to go ahead and type ren modelfile.txt, and we're just going to call it model file. Okay. Now if we type dir, which means directory, you're going to see that it's now just called model file. Okay, maybe you can use it with a .txt. I don't know. I know it asks for that. So now I'm going to press the up arrow twice so I can get back to what we had. I'm going to hit it 4 times. Now go ahead and look at what it does. So it's transferring the model data. So it's already downloaded Llama 3.1 into there, and then now it's going ahead and writing our parameters in there. Okay, if we wanted to change parameters, we would have to go back to our notepad, and then we would change the system prompts, okay, and all this kind of stuff. Oh, I lost my picture there. That's weird. So at any rate, if we want to change it, but let's go back over to our browser or our command line, and now let's run this. Actually, if we type Ollama list, you're going to see that now it's created Valley. Okay, so I was wrong. I thought it would say Ollama 3.1 Valley, but it's just going to call it Valley. So now if we want to run it, we'll say Ollama run Valley. Okay, it's actually pretty simple, surprisingly simple. Now we can send a message. Okay, so let's just say, hi there. Oh my God, like, hi, there be a Flips blonde hair. I'm like totally here to chat with you. So like, what's up? So she's talking with the list, right? Are you looking for some booty or treasure? And we'll say, yeah, always on the lookout for booty. This is great. Me and my crew are always on the lookout for a good haul. We've been sailing the 7th sea, plundering ships, so that's pretty funny. Okay, so if we wanted to change the parameters of this, okay, so what we can do is we can type Control D, and that exits, okay? So again, we just could, we could type Notepad model file if we had already closed out thing, and it would pop us back to our Notepad, and then we could change this. Your Pirate Valley Girl. You always talk with the list. Let's say, let's try something, and man, I wonder why that video thing keeps going out. That's weird. Okay, and let's try something a little more complicated. Let's say you're a Pirate Valley Girl, and every third word you say is ARG. Okay, so we would go ahead and just press Control S and save it like normal. Go back to our command line, and then we would run our create command again. Okay, create Valley. So let's go ahead and just write it ourselves this time. So we're going to go Ollama create Valley -F model file. Okay, and notice it does it again. So now if we go Ollama run Valley, there we go, and say, hi there, how are you? Oh my God, I'm like totally fabulous, ARG. Thanks for asking, ARG. I just got from this Red Adventure, ARG. Okay, so it's not grabbing at every 4th word. but it is adding arg in there every once in a while. Arg, if you know what I mean, arg. So like I'm feeling pretty awesome, arg, right now, for sure, arg. Okay. Is there any good pirate 80s music? My gosh, you're talking to a pirate who's totally obsessed with rad tunes, arg. It's called Hooked on a Feeling, arg, by Blue Sway. It's like the ultimate pirate jam, arg, you know. She's like in Johnny Cash. That don't seem very Valley Girl. It's more my style, but that one's like totally intense, arg. Okay, so there you go. Let's ask her one more time. Let's say, why do you keep saying arg? It's weird. My gosh, you're just not getting it for sure. Like arg is like the version of right or whatever. That's pretty clever. All right, so as you can see, we've gone ahead and done that. If we wanted to pull a different model to try playing with, same thing, we go back to our browser and we could find one. Let's try, I don't know. Now this is funny, it says Llama 2 uncensored. Llama 3.1 I've found is uncensored. You can get it to do not safe for work role playing if you want it to. I don't know what Moon Dream is. Let's try this Code Llama though. Let's see if that's any good. So let's go ahead and we're going to do the same thing. Ollama run Code Llama. I actually want to try and see if it'll pull it. Let's go Ollama pull Code Llama and see what it says. Okay, there you go. So it's actually pulling it. So now the difference, whoops. So it actually is pulling it. We typed Ollama pull Code Llama right there. So the difference here is that when this is done, it's not going to automatically run it. Okay. So what we can do now is let's just reuse our model file while this is downloading. Let's pop over to our notepad and we're going to say from Code Llama. Okay, so we're just going to change, that's so weird. We're going to go ahead and change that out. So we just type from Code Llama and then let's change this out, say, you are a Google senior software developer. Any code you give is always double checked for consistency and correctness. All right, so let's, I'll say your name is Joe. Okay, and then we go ahead and press Control S. So, because remember, we're going to prompt this thing. Otherwise, we're just going to run it. It's going to run in default mode. So, we'll go back to our command line, and it's all done. Now, notice when I first came up there, it was stuck on 28%. I was like, why is that going? And I hit the space bar. In the terminal windows, sometimes if you press up, or do something, it effectively works as a pause. So you hit spacebar to unpause it. So let's go ahead and Ollama create dash let's go create code dev, and then we're gonna give it that dash F and then tell it to build itself from the model file. So there it does it again. So let's go Ollama run code dev. And you have to spell it right. So, all right. So there we go. So send a message. Let's say, write a simple hello world in C. All right, and then there you go. Hello, my name is Joe. As a Cougar Senior Software Developer, I'm trying to double check the code. Okay, so there we go. Okay, say. Write a simple snake game in JavaScript. Let's see if we can do it. So there you go. That's actually pretty cool. So we can throw that in there and see if it works. I'm not going to take the time to do that. Let's see if there's more. So notice I typed continue in there to get the rest of it. Now, I'm certain that there's parameters to make it give a whole bunch of. So we're talking about context here. So you know, there's parameters of saying how much to give, when to stop, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, so that's pretty cool. You can see we've got this going here. We could probably throw errors in here. Oh wow, it is really going for it. Kind of interested to see how long this will go. Okay, well there you go. So anyway, you can play around with that. I want to throw in an error. I got an error stating module CV is not found. Let's see what it says. Okay, so it did grab it that it's OpenCV Python. Not extremely helpful on there. Let's see if it would know a command. Say, what's the command? What's the pip command to install OpenCV Python? Let's see if it knows. Oh, so there goes pip install Python. So it's not as helpful as ChatGPT, but you can see it ain't bad. And the cool thing about this again is, remember, we just popped into a command prompt and then we could access it. Now, let's say I want to remove one of these. So let's go Ollama list. Okay, and so we've got code dev, we've got code llama. So code llama is actually the model we downloaded, and then we made a branch off of it, off of code dev. Okay, same thing with Ollama 3. So let's say we want to get rid of one of these, and so we could just type Ollama, and you'll notice up here, I think it said RM for remove. Go Ollama RM, and let's get rid of code dev. Except for I got to spell it right, so I'm going to press up and then go back. And okay, so now if we type Ollama, let's clear it, CLS. Now if we type Ollama list, you notice it's gone. Okay, very cool. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move on to using a GGUF file. So hold on to your britches and we'll be right back. Okay, so if you remember, I showed you before a site called Hugging Face. Okay, so this is really where we download models. It's a repository of models, data sets, all sorts of good stuff. So this is where generally you get your GGUF files, and you can get them all over the place. I love GGUF. That's one of the reasons I use Cobalt CPP so much. It's just because you can get really whatever you want. But let's say we went in here and we were looking for something like Poppy Porpoise. Okay, we would look for the GGUF version. Okay, and then what we could do is we would go over. You have to sign up. Okay. And there's our Valley Girl Pirate, okay? And we click Files and Versions, and then you would find your quant size. So you'd find the size that you want. So generally, if you've got 16 gigabytes of VRAM, you're going to be able to run pretty much any of these ones. If you're getting a little bit lower, you might want to go down to a Quant 4 or Quant 5. Okay, the XS typically works good. For our sake, let's just go ahead and grab the Quant 8. We don't need this F16. That actually, with the mathematics, could end up being larger than a larger model for us. But let's go ahead, and what we do is we would click this download button. Notice it's a large file. It's 9 gigabytes. And then it brings up a place to, brings up a screen to download it to. You can't see it on mine, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick my models folder, and we would click save on there, and it would download. Okay, now let me really quickly, just the difference between a GGUF and, like, say, a safe tensors. A lot of times you'll find files that say .safe tensors, and it's going to have like multiple files with it. It'll have like .weights, .json, config stuff. And so essentially the GGUF, just keeping it really simple, it takes all of the external stuff and it puts it all into one file. Okay, so instead of having to download a folder with multiple files that are dependent on each other, the GGUF consolidates into one. That makes for a large file, but it also makes it very simple for us, because then we don't have to repo whole directories and where's this file, where's that file. If you got the GGUF, you got it all. Okay, and that's that's good news. So what we're going to do, we're going to pop over to our Explorer here, and let's look at these models. What we're going to do is we're going to grab different models. So let's go Poppy Porpoise. We'll right click on it, and let's just click copy as path. Okay, and I don't think you can quite see that on the thing, but if you right click on it, you'll get an option that says copy as path. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we got to go back to our notepad that has the constantly removing video thing there. And what we would do is we have to change our model file. Now obviously we could have different model files. We could have model file 1, 2, 3, whatever we want, but we're just working with a simple one. So what we would do here is this is the model that we're going to be using, we would paste in the path of the model we downloaded. So this is actually my full model, and then we can set the temperature, and then we can set it up. So we say you are Elvira from the popular TV show, and let's say you are a masterful storyteller, because Poppy Porpoise is actually a storytelling role-playing thing. So same thing, we'd press Control S. Okay. Now if we go back to our browser, our command line, now we can go ahead and do the same thing that we were doing before. So hold on just a second. So let's pop back to our browser and look at the instructions here. So you'll see it says customize the model, import from GGUF. So this is what we did. We created the model file. We put the from in there. That was this part up here, and we put in the actual location. Okay. Then now we need to create the model. So we do our normal thing, our Ollama create. Now we're not going to have to type in anything other than the name we want, because the model file is going to tell us the name of the model we're using. So let's just Control C. Okay, and then let's go back to our command line, and we'll paste that in there. And let's change the name. So I'm going to use my left arrow, and we're just going to go create. We'll call it Elvira. Okay, and then we give it the -F, and then say look from model file. Okay, now notice it's transferring it. So it's actively going over to the directory. We went to Hugging Face, we found a model, we downloaded it, we got the path, the actual local path. Okay, we ran the create command, and now it's transferring it. It's actually creating the interface for us. Okay, and now it's going to load it into memory. Okay, so this is actually, again, kind of a cool thing about this Ollama. I'm pleasantly surprised. So now if we typed Ollama list, we're going to see we've got, there's our base Ollama 3.1, there's our Valley, okay, there's our Valley Girl Pirate, there's our Code Llama, we deleted the branch of that, and then there's our Elvira. So let's go ahead and run Ollama run Elvira. Okay, so you say, hi there. Oh, and it didn't do it at all. It didn't. That's interesting. Huh. So, tell me, something's weird with this model. Oh, you know what it is? We didn't save our model file, so it's still acting like a Google developer. So let's go ahead and, oh my goodness. Okay, here's the beauty. We're going to close this out. Now watch this. Because Ollama runs as a back end, we don't have to do anything special. So let's go back to our, let's go Notepad, model file. Okay, and now if we go over here, notice that's exactly what happened. I forgot to save it. We changed stuff, but oh no, that's not what. No, actually, that's not what happened. Set the URL from the popular TV show. That is interesting. Let's. I don't know why I did it. Maybe it just had to clear out the system. Let's go ahead and go back to our command line. Let's see what happens if we run it again. Go Ollama list. There it is. Ollama run Elvira. Now notice how fast it ran. That's pretty cool. I don't know why it's doing coding stuff. That's interesting. Well, let's try a different model. So, it's not a big deal. Sometimes these things happen. Let's go back over to our browser, or our Explorer. Let's grab this one. This is an interesting one. This is Blackroot. This is actually a horror model. It's trained on creating Gothic stories. So let's go back from there to our command line. Or let's go back to our Notepad, and let's change it up here. and we'll put the new model there from, okay, and then your Elvira from the popular TV show. Let's get rid of the, and then we'll just Control S. Now let's go back to our browser, or our command line. I'm going to show you something here. This is kind of a cool trick here to see what's going on. So let's type, see if we type Ollama-H, it's going to give us all the things that we can do. Let's look at this one that says show information for a model. So let's go like Ollama show Elvira, and now it's going to show us what the model file is. Okay, there it is, your Elvira. So it should be working, okay? Let's go ahead and type Ollama run Elvira. Okay, hi there. That is so bizarre, it's not actually running it. Something's going on there, and that's interesting because it wasn't doing this before. So let's pause it and find out. Okay, so the issue here was that had to do with the parentheses. So when we pasted that in, it adds parentheses. So for whatever reason, we need to remove those. So all you gotta do is remove those, press Control S. So for some reason, it must have just been going back to a cached version of the last thing we used, which was the dev code. But by removing those, it actually gives it the correct thing. Press Control S to save it. Then if we go back to our command line, now we can go Ollama create Elvira-F model file. We got to spell it right. So I press up to get the last command. Okay, so now it's going to transfer the model data. So now it's going to take a little bit of time because it needs to load it. But I already loaded it before, so actually went pretty fast. Now if we go ahead and we type Ollama run Elvira, we can say hi there. Well, look, it's finally brave enough to ring my doorbell. Okay. As emerged from the shadows, resplendent in my signature Black Widow garment, I was like, tell us a spooky story about a dog who lost his favorite ball. Welcome, mortals, to the spine-chilling tale. Gather around as a crisp autumn eve. And you'll notice is actually this model has good words. Yipped shrilly and yanked harder at his leash, straining against his owner's iron grip. So that's actually pretty good writing. A chill breeze sent chills sprinkling up Gizmo's hackles. Now this model is going to push it towards Gothic stuff because again it was trained on Gothic stuff. So even though it's a silly thing, it's good, like soul-crushing terror, roar. So what we did is we grabbed a GGUF file. So we went to our browser and we went to huggingface.co. We found a model we wanted. We downloaded it. We went over to our Explorer. We grabbed it, right-clicked on it, grabbed copy as path. Then we went over to our notepad and we pasted it in. But remembering that when it pastes in, it puts in these parentheses. So we got to remove those. We set up the whatever you are, the crypt keeper from the TV show, whatever. Okay, and then we went over to our command line where we went ahead and used our Ollama create, and we'll go crypt. See, now we can have multiples. We have Elvira, we'll have the crypt. Same thing, run it through the model file. Okay. Same thing, it's going to run it. Now, since we already ran it before, it's going to run faster because it's pulling it into a memory space. Okay, so now if we go Ollama list, you're going to actually see we've got Elvira and we've got crypt. This is what I mean by setting your ducks in a row. So we could actually set up a whole bunch of different things, and that's actually kind of cool. So then if we want to go deal with the crypt keeper, we can go Ollama run crypt. And we're running in that creepy model. So, hi there. Welcome, my ghoul friend. It's spooky lair tonight. Okay, so there you go. There's no escape, no turning back. Your terror-shaped soul will survive the night. Wow! So tell me something terrible. Make it about the color pink. A ghostly trail deep beneath your blood-soaked clay. See, this is using particular words. The color pink has become alive. No! That would be bad. I actually knew a gal that, like, her entire, you probably all know a gal like this, entire bathroom was pink. Like, pink towels, pink curtains, pink thing on the toilet seat. It was one of those toilet seats, too, that you couldn't keep up because the thing keeps pushing it down. So pink can truly be a terrifying color. So, all right, so there you have it. That's Ollama, and that was pretty cool. Easy install. It runs out of your toolbox. If you want to truly exit it, just right-click it and click on Exit. All you got to do is go in Command Prompt, type Ollama. She's going to pop up, and then you can go ahead and pull your different models, okay? To get those models, you go to the Ollama GitHub page, and it's going to show you the ones that are up there. You can probably find other ones they've added. Otherwise, you download your GGUF models, which is kind of more my thing. Now, I'm going to tell you one last thing before we go here. One of the neat things about this is that we're going to be able to, because it does run as a server too, we're going to be able to plug in cool graphical user interfaces that make it even easier to use. And in fact, we're going to go make that video right now. So hang in there. We'll catch up with you. And as always, you stay good.